Hi, Courtney here. I'm sorry I have been out a while, but I'm coming in today to talk to you about frugal minimalism as a path to financial independence. And it's something I've talked about a lot on my channel, but I find that often these things we need support in doing over and over again. And so the truth is, when I discovered financial independence, I was quite young. I read the book Your Money or Your Life when I was in my 20s. That was over 30 years ago. And then I kind of discovered the term financial independence. I had read books that led me to understanding financial independence, like the Tightwad Gazette, The Wealthy Barber, Your Money or Your Life. And at the age of 34, I discovered Voluntary Simplicity, which was actually tied to the book Your Money or Your Life. It was directly, they worked together, the people who wrote that book and the people who started the Northwest Earth Institute out in, I think it's Seattle. But at any rate, it basically comes down to this. When you don't need a lot to live, when you can get to a comfortable lifestyle that doesn't cost a lot, you do not need as much money. And therefore, you do not have to save as much money to buy your freedom back. So if your needs are few and your wants are few, you don't have to have a lot. And so my husband and I now, technically we could walk away from work and never work again, but we're choosing to build up a little bit more of a cushion for about, well, at least 3 more years so that we can hedge for inflation and that we can keep our property, because we own a 40-acre farm and it is the taxes and insurance, even though it's paid off, are quite a bit. And we also have animals that we take care of, and we want to continue taking care of them until they pass over the Rainbow Bridge. And we have family as well, and 1 child that's disabled. So there's a lot of responsibilities, but we have made our needs few. And I want to talk to you about some ways that we have done that as frugal minimalist. Me, I consider myself a frugal minimalist. My husband, it's not in his realm. He is frugal. And as far as minimalism, he doesn't identify with any labels, but I wouldn't say he's not a hoarder and he doesn't have a lot, but he loves to do things like camp and fish and hunt. And so therefore he has all the stuff that goes with that, but he doesn't spend a lot on it. So things like his hunting, he will buy all of his hunting clothes at yard sales. He will get all of the things that he needs at yard sales. And then he's pretty much just a do-it-yourselfer. He's just real old school. So let me talk to you about a couple of other things that I do on the regular that I observe. Things like beauty treatments. So I only get my nails done for special occasions, because now it is $70 to $90 for a manicure and a pedicure, and that's without any kind of fake nails at all. I do not get any beauty treatments like fillers, Botox, sculpting, eyelashes, none of that. I just wash my face with soap and water. Occasionally I use a nighttime moisturizer, but that's it. I use Walmart makeup. Grocery store makeup. I don't go and spend money on expensive makeup. And I used to model when I was younger, and I worked in the beauty industry, and I actually worked for Redken and Aveda. And while I love their products, the supermarket products now are really good and they're far, far less expensive. And I just don't care enough to keep that up. I get my hair cut once a month. I do not get any hair color. I stopped doing that during the pandemic. It was a transition. I had to put a rinse on it for about 1.5 years, like a semi-color, that you just put on. And I tried to match my new growth as much as possible. And as it faded out, my hair color came in, and at this point, it's just me. And it's funny now because this hair color is now in style. You never know. It's another thing I've learned with clothes and such. Styles come and go. Like some of the things, like today I am wearing these joggers. I don't know if you can see them. They're super baggy. They're like the old fashioned, like I used to wear in high school. I think I paid $14 for them. This sweater I've had for years from TJ Maxx. I'm just hanging around the house today. I may run to the flea market looking for some furniture. But at any rate, styles come and go. So a lot of the things that I have in my closet are things I've had that have been in style, out of style, and they're back in style again. But you just keeping things pretty basic and not worrying. And you can always, you'll look at one Pinterest thing and it'll say this is in style and this isn't in style. Just dress what's authentic to you and how you feel comfortable and how you feel put together. So let's talk about cleaning, yard work, paying people to help you. My husband and I do this sometimes, and I think it is valuable when you have hit a point where you make more money than you pay someone to clean you. So if you're making $50 an hour and you pay $20 to $25 an hour for someone to clean your house, that makes sense. In my husband's case, he can go out and do a roof with our roofing crew and manage all of that and make, 20 times more than what it costs to mow the yard. So sometimes we do pay when we don't have time for someone to mow the yard. But once we go back to being retired and not working our day jobs, we'll take over some of those responsibilities ourselves. Cooking. Oh my gosh, cooking at home is so much cheaper than eating out. And if you're eating out and you're like, well, I can get a cheeseburger 2 for $5 or whatever, while that can seem cheap per serving, it is usually not, and it's detrimental to your overall health and longevity. I work in lifestyle medicine. We have a chronic problem, especially in the West, of people becoming very sick from our diets. And usually you can cook a meal at home from anywhere from 50 cents. A bowl of oatmeal with some fruit is about 50 cents to $2 a meal. On the average, an American can eat for $6 to $9 a day by cooking at home. Driving. So choosing a reliable used car. There are some instances in today's car market. I just heard though on Market Briefs, it's a newsletter that I get on the markets. It's just a lot of like factual, non-political information, and that used car prices have gone down, used cars and trucks. My husband and I drive 10-year-old vehicles. They are low mileage vehicles that we purchased from people that we know. Every vehicle that we own was from someone that we know. We pay cash for them. We have one car, CRV, we paid $7,500 for. We have a truck we paid $20,000 for. And my car we paid $12,000 for. I drive a Honda Accord. He drives a Chevy Silverado. And then we have a CRV that's like our extra vehicle. Because of my husband's work, he needs a big work truck sometime, and that's the business truck. But all of those vehicles are very low to maintain and insure. So we don't pay a lot for insurance, and we don't pay a lot to maintain them because they do not require a lot of maintenance, and they do not require expensive maintenance like, for instance, a diesel truck would. The next thing is your housing. We only have the opportunity to choose housing once in a while. And so getting to like a middle class lifestyle, having a huge house for 2 or 3 people, that's more to maintain. So many people are walking around looking rich, but they're not really rich or wealthy. They are just, financed at the wazoo. And so having a comfortable middle class lifestyle, the more you have, the more you have to maintain, the more you have to store, the more it costs to keep it up. On the house, more taxes, more insurance. We kind of are in that space. We have a very modest house, and we have a little cabin that we built for our son, but that's a whole nother story that we Airbnb. But because we own 40 acres, our house, when we first got it built, it was worth around $395,000 without the little property. And we only spent $218,000 total, plus another 48 cash that we had. So whatever that comes to, what's that, about 270. So our house was about worth $395,000. Well, with all the elbow grease my husband and I have put into it, we've paid to have it cleared, we've used cash, we've done a lot of improvements to the land. It's somewhere around $795,000 now. And so that put us into a very high net worth at this point, but it also put our taxes and insurance over as so expensive. They are 3 times what my parents are. And my parents live in town. They have a house that I would say is equivalent to our house, but their taxes, I'm sorry, I have a hair in my eye. Their taxes are a quarter of our taxes. So when you do move, think about your taxes, your insurance, and how much you really need versus how much you think you need. Dry cleaning. I'm honestly kind of think this is silly to bring up because I don't generally buy clothes that dry clean. I buy a lot of my clothes, most of my clothes come from, because I live in a small town, about an hour away, we have a Target, we have a Walmart, we have a TJ Maxx, so Old Navy, so my clothes come from there. I don't boutique shop a lot because I found that when I did do that for a couple of years, the quality of the clothing wasn't really that much better, and it was so trendy that it often didn't, the styles didn't last. So I tend to just, buy a lot of resale. And so I have these two dresses. One was given to me. One was from a resale shop, and I wore them a couple of times, and they got something on them, and they really needed to be dry cleaned. I had $9 invested in these dresses. Okay, both high end. One of them was high end. One of them wasn't, because the high end one I got at a boutique for $9, a resale boutique. $25. I paid more for dry cleaning. I had no idea. I hadn't done dry cleaning in so long. So buying clothes that do not have to be dry cleaned, plus those chemicals aren't good for you. Dog grooming. I never really had to do dog grooming before. If I took the dog to the vet, I'd go ahead and have them wash the dog, cut their nails if it needed to be done. Most of the time, the animals that I've had were kind of self-grooming. Their nails just kind of naturally didn't need it. But I have a Great Pyrenees now that I adopted, and she needs to be groomed, honestly, probably every other month. But I have a groomer come every 3 months, clean her coat, cut her nails, and she just does it all. It would cost me probably double to go to a groomer and have her washed and everything, so I don't have her washed. Every couple of times a year, I wash her outside when it's hot because she's very challenging to wash, but she's kind of self-cleaning. So when you think about pets in general, getting pets that are not so expensive to upkeep. I knew having her was going to be a lot. I had fallen in love with a Great Pyrenees about 20 years ago. I always wanted one, and a friend of mine needed to rehome this dog, and she's been the best dog ever, but she was a mama dog, and she kept taking her babies off the property. And so they retired her, and she came to live with me. And she's great, but she's expensive, and I knew that going into it. So thinking about the cost and being prepared for that, being responsible with your animals when you take them on. Groceries, that just goes back to, being mindful. I do not eat meat, eggs, or dairy, which are very expensive, and I don't eat a lot of processed foods. So my groceries are pretty inexpensive. It's not so much my groceries, I go to the grocery store and I get everything there. I buy my makeup there. I buy my toiletries there. I buy my vitamins there. I buy the dog food, the cat food, the toilet paper. You get the picture. So I'm going to say, I just have a budget on our credit card every month. Like, I know that we have like $2,500 a month to live for everything. And so I just don't let it go over. But generally, I spend about $125 to $200 a week at the grocery store for everything. And yeah, so just being mindful of your groceries and how much they cost. Buying generic, meal planning, having a plan when you go to the store, reusing the same ingredients over and over in different recipes. Like if you buy a bag of broccoli, like use it in a stir fry and use it in a soup, and then use it on potatoes. Pantry shopping, looking through what you have, deciding what you can use from your pantry before you grocery shop. The next one is working out. So my husband has a gym membership only for the back massage machines. I work out at home, and so does he. We use YouTube. We have a little bedroom that we turn into a workout room. We have a treadmill in there, weights, those stretchy bands, and all the yoga stuff, because I'm a yoga therapist, so I used to own a studio, so I have all that. And we just work out at home. I walk right now, I'm doing a walking challenge, 30 minutes a day. We live near a national park. We go hiking. But there is so much free exercise available to people. If you live in a place that's not conducive to going out and walking or hiking, or you don't have room for whatever reason, but nowadays you can find on YouTube, there are walking videos that you need about a 6x6 space to exercise. Really, you don't need any equipment at all. You can YouTube, no equipment, walking, standing, sitting, chair. There's so much on YouTube for free, and it is excellent. But if you need a gym membership or you do better in that environment, there are all kinds of cheap gym memberships these days for under 20 bucks a month. The next thing is, let's see, shoes and clothing. I've already talked about clothing, but shoes. I get a pair of tennis shoes every year on my birthday. I try to buy, if I find a shoe that's comfortable that I like, I try to buy it in multiple colors that I can wear. And I try to be very mindful not to overbuy shoes or to think about what I own that I can wear with those shoes before I buy a new pair. And that is one area where I do spend a little bit more money. I'm not excessive, but I have been known to spend, maybe $70 on a pair of shoes. I rarely would spend over $70 on a pair of shoes. The next one is to use it up, wear it out, or do without. As far as our home goes, I don't generally replace anything until it is used up, worn out. It can't be fixed. It needs replacing. I had a coffee pot that it just didn't heat well. It didn't have the hot plate. It had the carafe. And we went a couple of years just dealing with it, putting our coffee in the microwave. I finally found a Keurig that was in a gray color that was, I guess it's ugly. And so it's the double, it's got the pot and the little Keurig thing. And we got that for $77. The same Keurig is $169 if you get it in black, but I didn't care that it was in gray. My washing machine, I don't replace things like that until they break. My washer and dryer do not match right now. They're both white, but they're not the same brand or the same body style. My refrigerator has a bunch of things broken in it, and I'm searching for a good deal, but it still works. The light doesn't work. It's not the bulb, it's the switch. All my drawers are broken. I will never purchase Frigidaire again. But I'm slowly looking for a deal before I buy a new one, and then I will either sell it or give it away. I've been in the space of giving things away lately just because I don't need the money. But if you do, definitely sell your stuff. And so that's really all I have today. There are so many ways to save money every day. I do no spends all the time. When I go through stores, I think about what I need before I buy it. And I just try not to spend money. Like today, I know that I may go get a shot and that cost me about 20 bucks. I don't have to pay that bill today. I am probably going to go to a flea market, but I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I often just give myself a budget. So right now, it is the 11th of the month. My credit card, I do use a credit card. I didn't for years. So we have a monthly budget of about $3,000. And I know the bills that come out, and then the rest I use a credit card because I use the points to travel, or I get refunds on things like my Airbnb and stuff like that. Anyway, so I look at my credit card, like I know right now it's about $700, and so we have about 10 more days or 11 more days. So I will be mindful to check it every couple of days to make sure it's not getting over the allotted amount. And when I go to like the flea market, I kind of have in my mind how much I'm willing to spend on a buffet or storage for my house. And it's about $325 is the max. I went to a furniture store last week and I was like, oh, heck no, I am not spending that much money on a piece of fiberboard. So anyway, have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here.